sugar, you come right on in here. You are just in time. Go on, get your blanket, sip your tea, and scoot a little closer to Granny's rocker. Tonight's story ain't one I tell too often. Not because I forgot it, mind you, because it's about my middle boy, Ron. He's always been the quiet one, strong as an ox, smart as a whip, but the kind who keeps his thoughts close and his fears even closer. But let me tell you, there was one summer when he couldn't even keep his cool. I'll take you back to the summer of 1979 and a strange figure who came to call. Now, that summer, Ron was about 13 years old. We'd gone to stay with my cousin on her property outside Selmer, Tennessee. A sleepy little stretch of land way out past the county line, surrounded by woods so thick you'd think they breathed at night. The house was a bit of a fixer-upper, but Ron didn't mind. He loved the woods, and Elise had a couple of old dirt bikes and a fishing pond, so he was in heaven. There was only one rule Elise gave him: don't go past the tree line after dark, especially not near the old clearing past the ridge. Now, you'd think a good southern boy would heed that kind of warning, but boys are going to be boys, and Ron, well, curiosity got the best of him. It was maybe the third or fourth night, hot, still, crickets screeching loud enough to rattle your teeth. Ron stayed up reading comic books in the guest room. Everyone else was asleep. And then he saw it, a soft glow outside the window. At first he thought it was a flashlight, but it moved too smooth, floated almost, weaving between the trees at the edge of the woods. He squinted. There, just beyond the fence line, was a tall figure holding an old railroad lantern. Long coat, wide-brimmed hat, no face visible, just that light swaying back and forth, back and forth. Ron blinked and the man was gone. He chalked it up to tired eyes and too many ghost stories. But that wasn't the end of it. The next night, Ron couldn't sleep. He crept out onto the back porch just to see, just to check. And wouldn't you know it, there it was again. Same figure, same lantern. But this time the glow flickered red, and Ron felt something he never forgot. The air got freezing cold, but the hair on his arm stood up like it was burning. He watched the lantern man slowly turn, as if sensing him, and that's when he heard it, a low moaning hum, almost like an old hymn twisted into something wrong. Ron backed into the house, locked the door, and didn't speak a word of it to anyone. Not yet. The next afternoon, Elise's boy, Ron's cousin, dared him to go in the woods and prove the lantern man wasn't real. I bet you can't make it to the clearing without chickening out, he said. Ron didn't back down. Just before sunset, he took a flashlight and headed out on his own. They say the woods remember things, and that day they remembered him. He never said much about what happened in that clearing, but when he came stumbling back, his flashlight was melted, warped like it had been held to a fire, and his shirt soaked like it had been dropped in an ice bath. He looked me in the eyes that night and said, "Mama, something out there watched me, and it wasn't human." Elise eventually told me the story that she had heard around town. Said back in the early 1900s, a drifter had lived near that ridge, worked for the railroad, lost his family in a house fire, went mad. They say he'd wander the tracks at night with a lantern, calling out for his wife and children. One night during a storm, the river flooded, and he was washed away, but nobody ever found the body. Starting a few years afterwards, folks would see a lantern light flickering in the trees, and those who followed it too far, Well, some didn't come back. Ron never went back to the clearing. I never went out there. He doesn't talk much about that summer, but sometimes when the lights get real still and the crickets quiet down, he'll glance out a window, and I swear I see the reflection of a lantern's glow in his eyes. So if you ever find yourself near a railroad ridge and you see a light swing just beyond the trees, don't follow it. Not all those souls want company. Some just want you gone. Now that's all for tonight, sugar. Granny will be back next week with another story to keep your covers tucked tight. Until then, keep your porch light on, your flashlight batteries new, and your curiosity real short. Good night now.